Stop. Hamner time. That's right. This week's guest, last year's Elite Series Rookie of the Year, bridesmaid, and Bassmaster Classic Qualifier, Justin Hamner on...
I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmaster. Welcome to Mercer.
Here we go. Let's get strapped in and get ready because it is once again Wednesday, the middle of the week. Happy hump day. Hard to believe it is November already. Unbelievable. This is our first show in November. And before we go any further, I got to thank all of you. Unbelievable. We have passed 65,000 YouTube subscribers. When we started this podcast that I do by myself, we had 35,000 followers. So in the short, 30 weeks it has been, not that that's that short. I mean, that's a while. We've added 30,000 followers to YouTube. Thank you very, very much. I mean, a lot of people talk and a lot of people say things, but you guys did your talking with the subs, and we have 65,000 YouTube followers. So keep it going if you aren't already following, or whatever area you listen to this podcast. We thank you for that. I honestly thank you. But it is Wednesday, and we're going to do a podcast like we do all the time. It is not just Wednesday. It is World Jellyfish Day. That's right. So, give a shout out to the favorite jellyfishes in your life. You get on a podcast a lot of different ways, this podcast. We've kind of literally, there's no science behind it. I literally just end up booking people that usually I end up talking to throughout the week. But then every once in a while, somebody will come along and throw their hat in the ring. And that is exactly the case with this week's guest, Justin Hamner. An Elite Series rookie last year, finished second in the Rookie of the Year race, qualified for the Bassmaster Classic, and literally called me out in his social media saying he missed me and he wanted me to book him on this podcast. So that's exactly why we're booking him right now. I mean, don't think, if you want something, I mean, this is not Oprah Winfrey. This is not The Secret, but it kind of is. If you want something, put it out in the universe, and it just may happen. This is one of those somethings. Let's welcome him in right now. Elite Series Pro and Bassmaster Classic Qualifier, Justin Hamner. All right, Justin, people get on this podcast in a lot of different ways, but you got on it the most impressive way, if you ask me. You just trash talked your way into it. You basically said, book me on this podcast, and made your followers tag me on booking you. Because I cannot be browbeat, I made sure I waited a little while, but it worked.
Hey, as long as it worked, I mean, job well done, right? You got to do what you got to do in this industry.
Yeah, no, it worked, and you're here now. So what did you want to talk about so much, or are you just hungry for exposure at this point?
I am hungry for exposure, but I mean, anytime you get to talk with you, come on. I mean, those like 3 seconds when you're rushed through the stage, cross the weigh-in stage. I mean, it's just try to blur something out real quick. No, it's not enough to talk with you.
All right. Well, okay. Well, we got all sorts of time here now, so we can talk about all sorts of things. Happy Halloween. Yes, it was Halloween. Did you have a good Halloween?
Oh yeah, it was wonderful sitting here at the house with a sick kid, sick wife, sick me. So yeah, it was a blast.
Well,
how was your Halloween? How did you get
wonderful.
All that off of your face so quick?
Oh, Captain Spaulding. That was a mess. I'm gonna be honest. 3 freaking I mean, my wife started with some wipes or whatever, but it wasn't enough. I mean, we were dealing with a whole different level of makeup and a lot cheaper. I bought the makeup at a dollar store. I'll be honest. I went out shopping myself and I realized the difference, because when my wife takes off her makeup, I mean, it's just a little wipe and it's done. But it took literally 3 freaking showers. But people kept telling me, since I grew a beard, people told me I looked like that dude, Captain Spaulding. So I just embraced it. Did you think I looked good?
It kind of scared me a little bit, not gonna lie. It was intense.
A little scary.
It was good though. It was good.
So you guys dressed up as sick people. What are you ailing with?
Yeah,
I
we
feel bad
crushed
for
that too.
bugging you.
No, it's all good. My little girl, she had I think it's called RSV, something like that, and of course give it to us. So it's just been a fun little, about week and a half. So but it's all good. We're on the downhill slide of it now.
You're not your. I mean, I don't know what your average Elite Series rookie is anymore. I was about to say you're not the average Elite Series rookie, but you might be, really. You know what I mean? When you look at it, the super young guys straight out of college is still not the norm. You know what I mean? It's guys, I think you're right around 30, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm 30 years old, and I wish I could have gone the college route because I mean that's just such an awesome opportunity those guys have these days. But I was a little bit different. I had to get out there and go to work. I couldn't afford doing the whole college thing, and finally decided it was time, now or never, basically, for trying to fish the opens and go through all that. But trying to do two jobs, while going through the opens, it was fun. I'm glad we're here.
How did you overcome so many? Because right now there is tons of people listening to this that are like, yeah, I got a kid and I'm married and I have all those but there's no way I can figure out, I'm sure you hear it all the time. You can't do it unless you have this, and this. And I look at everything you've got on you pressure wise. How are you able to do this?
I have no idea. First of all, how or why I even tried, because it was brutal. I ain't gonna lie. So I was working at the University of Alabama. I had a good stable job. Been there for 5 or 6 years, and it got to the point where they wouldn't let us, do the overtime deal to be able to have time off anymore. So it was kind of the point where it's like, well, if I want to do it, I've got to leave here, got to go out on my own so I can have the time off. And so what I did was actually found out my wife was pregnant, and so she was having the baby that April. My last day was with the university was March 31st. And Wow. This was my first year of trying to, fish all the opens and do this deal. So I literally just left the university, started my own lawn care business, and kind of doing that on the side while I was pouring concrete kind of for my day job. And it was brutal, but hey, I don't know how, but we managed to get through it. And it was tough because I'm, not coming from money. And so that's not just a luxury, I guess, I get to have, but makes you really, once you accomplish it, it really means a lot. I mean, I'm sure it does for everybody, but man, we put in some work to get here. So
how scary was that? I mean, just
awful.
that feeling of being like, it's scary to fish the Elite Series as it is, you know what I mean? Like to roll into this and even the opens, but to put all the things that you have on your plate, you know what I mean? At the time, baby on the way, you know what I mean? Like how scared, you must've been scared shitless.
Oh, it was terrible. I mean, thank God I've got best wife. I know everybody says it, but for her just to, she was behind me 100%. Just, hey, let's go do it, go after it. So she was a big help, and dude, it was a grind. I mean, there was tournaments that fishing the opens where I was just begging to get a check just so I could make it back home because I didn't have nothing. I mean, it was rough. So hey, we put it through it. The business started rolling. Everybody needs their grass cut, I guess. So
yeah,
it helped a ton, and it was just work. There's no other way around it. It was nothing but work.
Is that still something you do, the grass cutting business? Is that something that you still actively do when you're not competing in the elites?
When you messaged me this morning, I was actually cutting the yard then. I was like, heck yeah, I got to drop this. I'm going.
Screw the grass. I'm doing a podcast.
It's way more important. I got to talk to Dave.
Who cuts the grass when you're at events? Do you have buddies that help out, or do your customers just understand at certain times of the year the grass is just going to be unruly?
Pretty much. So luckily, this year It always looks good. What are you talking about? It's amazing.
I'm sure.
No,
I'm sure.
so I had to drop a few clients this year, so I kind of organized it to where, luckily for this year's schedule, we kind of had a week being gone, fishing the tournament, and then we would have a break. So we only had, the one time it was back to back. So I had to drop a few clients and kind of work it out to where I could be gone for a week, come back, cut them off. So really just have a full week of work. So and they're pretty understanding.
Evidently, I'd be all over you, dude. I mean, I would be if that isn't edged properly, I would be all over you.
That's the thing. When I get back and after I get my work done, I mean, they see how amazing it is because I can cut some grass. Might not be able to fish like good all the time. I can cut grass.
Was it ever an option of not making it? You know what I mean? Because I say that to people, and I really do believe that's something that pros need to have. You need to have that chromosome or whatever in your brain that just says, I'm going to make it one way or another. This is what I'm going to end up doing. And I know from the age that I was, 15, younger, grade 5, I think was when I first started saying, I'm going to fish for a living. But I never, ever thought of an option of it not coming true. It was just, well, if it doesn't go through this route, we'll have to go through that route and figure out a way to get there. Is that how your brain worked too?
Yeah, I don't know what it is about us. We're messed up or something. But no, it was never everything I've done, even, before leaving the university, everything was, how can I set this up to be able to go after this one day? And I mean, I felt like I got to do it now, or I know it's going to be even tougher after, start having a family and kids and things like that. So I just jumped all in, but yeah, there's not another option. And if you feel like you got to have a fallback or something like that, that's where a lot of guys struggle, because it's, I know it's weird to say, but you have to go all in or you can't compete with these guys.
I totally agree. And I feel like in my own business past, I did the same. You know what I mean? I once had a job but it wasn't until I left that job and like literally said that we're making a living, whether this works or doesn't work, we're going to go broke doing it.
Yeah. Having that fallback, you're kind of scared. So you're not willing to, put everything into it that you need. But when there's no other option, there's no other option. So we got to make this work.
You grew up fishing tournaments with your dad, and my dad introduced me to fishing, but it was never at a higher, you know what I mean? It was just fishing. It was just, sometimes you catch one, sometimes you don't. And I kind of just got obsessed with the sport and learned through other ways. But having a dad that you competed with in tournaments, is he kind of like a stage mom now? Like, is it like in Canada, we call them puck dads that are like the hockey dads? Does he light you up if you don't catch him? Or what is the conversation like after a good day versus a bad day?
It's the same either way. Why didn't you throw a Carolina rig?
That's all he ever says.
No, he's good. He really is. I mean, he's completely supportive of everything I do, obviously. But yeah, he can be a little harsh sometimes. I mean, we'll go out fishing. And right now, his big kick is you've got to stop staring at that Panoptics. Just getting on to me about that. You don't power fish enough. Yeah. No, he's kind of got that happy medium, but there's always something to complain about. He's a dad. So.
It's also got to be pretty cool to have a dad that understands your dream, though. Like, there's a lot of people, it doesn't matter whether it's fishing or something else, that I had to tell my parents what the Bassmasters was. I had to tell my parents, like, it wasn't, but if your dad, it's got to be a lot of support around that as well.
Oh, absolutely. He knows how big this is. And like you say, when a lot of people you try to explain, yeah, I fish professional bass fishermen, and they're just, okay, weirdo. But yeah, absolutely. My dad's in 100%. He's followed, he's the one that got me into the tournament fishing, like you said. And this is a dream come true for him, probably as much as it is for me.
Another guy that gets a front row seat to your Elite Series experience is Patrick Walters, your roommate, the guy you travel with. Why do you guys travel together?
I think it's because I'm just so good looking. It just draws everything in. I don't know.
It's your looks.
It's gotta be. No, I have no idea. So I guess how we met was through a friend back in the day. He was fishing an open that was at Logan Martin, and he'd never been there. And it's like, hey, you know, I got a buddy that's coming down. His name's Patrick. You want to go out with him? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And it was, I compare it to that like Step Brothers moment where pretty much looked at each other. Did we just become best friends? Yep. So, I mean, we hit it off. I don't know. It's like polar opposites of everything we do. He is so geared up, wide open, just like no patience whatsoever. I'm laid back, just couldn't care less, you know, just go with the flow. And it's so weird how we just kind of started noticing because, you know, at first fishing the opens, we weren't really sharing information and doing all that. And the night before our first open fishing, you know, as we were staying together,
yeah,
we got to talking that night before, like, hey, you know, where are you going to start? Oh, probably going to start, you know, this area. Oh yeah, that's where I'm going to start too. What part of that area? It's like, well, I'm going to be over here. So he's like, well, where exactly over there? I was like, well, there's a buoy over there. I'm going to be close to this one buoy. He's like, well, that's where I'm starting at. And sure enough, like both of us start there. We're the only two boats around for like, you know, nobody else around. And how we ended up started like every tournament is like, no matter what we did, not talking to each other, we started coming to these same conclusions about, you know, kind of getting dialed in on the same stuff. And it really just kind of took it from there where we started talking and opening up and breaking down these bodies of water so much quicker. And I don't know, our fishing styles are stupidly similar. I don't know how. Like I said, it's like polar opposites, and then we'll come to the same thing. I mean, it's nuts. There was a tournament this year at it was the Sabine. We were both catching on something different, just like completely different areas. And we get back after day one, and we're like, yeah, something changed. I ended up having to catch mine on a wacky rig. What did you do? And he's like, shut up. That's the only thing I could catch him on was a wacky rig. He's like, we haven't caught a fish on it in the entire practice. You know, neither one of us even have one tied on, I don't think. And then I don't know. It's funny how that works, but we've hit it off good. And him and his family are so supportive, and they've helped me out so much. I mean,
great
staying
people.
with them. Yeah, they really are. You know,
Really
him letting me stay several tournaments, you know, in his little truck camper on the couch, and you know, doing what we have to do to get by. So can't thank them enough. That's for sure.
You mentioned Step Brothers, so I got to take it there. If one of you had to put your testicles on the other's drum set, who would be putting the testicles on the drum set, and who would be owning the drum set?
I did that to his jerkbait box, and it just escalated from there.
Oh my word! Wow, could you imagine? People have been bringing their jerkbait boxes to you everywhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's like the stamp of approval.
Oh my! Wow, that is a whole different stamp of approval than I thought I'd ever hear. Why does he call you Cricket?
Daryl Gleason. We're probably going to get in a fight next time I see him over that one. I don't know why.
You and Daryl Gleason are going to fight?
I love Daryl. That's all a joke, but he come up with that just random out of nowhere, and I have no idea what it means or what it's about, but it's cricket. So we're just going to have to make sure that doesn't stick, though.
All
right.
You
know anybody?
I'll see what I can do. One thing Patrick did talk to me about, he says you're not a good chef. He says you don't have very good cooking skills, and you once tried to boil cheese-filled hot dogs for him. Is that true, or is that all a total lie?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Next question.
All right, I'm sorry. I guess I got bad info.
We were at Pickwick, and you know, we're practices. The last thing you want to do after practice is start cooking and doing all this. Well, he's usually the one that does it. We'll kind of like crock pot something, and it'll be ready when we get back. Well, we didn't have anything ready for that night, and it was just kind of a rush. I was like, "Don't worry, I got this." I go to Dollar General thinking I'm just gonna get some hamburger meat and some hamburger helper because that's my specialty. I can cook that. And hamburger meat, solid frozen, couldn't thaw it out. Long story short, I get some cheese hot dogs, and they were probably the worst thing. I just gagged in my mouth when you mentioned that. It was rough.
Did you really do that just so they would not ask you to cook anymore?
That's between me and you.
All right.
All right. I guarantee you one thing: they haven't asked again. So
you might just be the smartest guy ever.
You're welcome.
What was it like to join the Elite Series? You hear people talking about, I was intimidated of this person or that person. What was your first day, first week at the office like? What do you have any moments that you remember from that?
So many. So first day, first Elite Series tournament. I was one of the guys. Me and Patrick we were locking over to Rodman, and so I already knew we were kind of limited on time. And y'all hit us with a fog delay that lasted till like 10 o'clock. And this is
we did not hit you with said fog delay. The fog came and we just told you you're not allowed to go. That's all. We just reacted to situations.
Well, it worked out real good. Perfect timing, I can tell you that. So yeah, we're sitting there till it was like 10 o'clock, I think. Yeah. And I literally had nothing else other than locking up to Rodman. So I'm trying to do the math in my head. We have to lock back down at like 1:15. So I'm thinking, okay, if we go through this, everything goes smoothly, I'll have an hour and 15 minutes to fish. And I have nothing else. Let's do it.
And that was enough in your head? Like, or you're just like, it's what we got? I mean,
pretty much is what we got. I knew I could catch fish. Like, if you put me up there for an hour, I felt like, I felt better catching them there than anywhere else. I can say,
okay,
sure.
Okay.
But so you talking about nervous? Holy crap. I wasn't really that as far as intimidated by anybody. These guys, obviously they're the best in the world. I'm glad Hackney I didn't run into him that first day, because that would have been a whole different level. That dude does intimidate me. I don't know.
He?
Them crazy eyes. It's just he puts those eyes on you.
Gets that side eye going on. He can be scary.
It was funny, but it was really more of just like just awestruck. These are the guys I've looked up to my whole life, and when we were actually locking up, it was crazy. So I pull in to the lock, and John Cox is right there, and I was like, well, I'll just pull over here real quick, pull up to him, and then Jason Christie pulls up on the this is insane. So that was fun. That was fun.
I lost you at Christie there. I think somebody's trying to call
I'm sorry.
you. Okay, so Cox is on one side of you, Christie's on the other.
Yep. And then Swindle's tied up to him. So what's even happening right now? And just getting to sit there and talk and just shoot the bull with those guys and stuff like that. That itself, 5 years ago would have been like, somebody tell me I would be doing that. I'd have just been good. I can die happy.
Well, I imagine since then things have changed and you've decided you need bigger goals in life. What is the goal for you? What this dream, is it just to make a living, or is it to be a classic champ, is be an angler of the year, to be all of the above? What is the dream in your head?
There's no doubt. I feel like I kind of sold myself short this year because I was just so worried about, hey, let's make the classic. That's what I've, always dreamed about wanting to do. But, I didn't take some of the chances of swinging for it. And really that was some of my worst tournaments, were trying to play it safe and things like that. So yeah, absolutely. My goal is 100% to win the classic. That's what we come here for. That's what this is all about. That and blue trophies. I can't wait to get back started. It's like once you get that kind of freaked out of, hey, you can compete with these guys. I'm here. Let's show them what we're all about. So, and really like that second half of the season or the northern swing, it was like just a weird, relaxing. We had a good reset of about a month and a half before that northern swing, and could really take a deep breath and think about things. And hey, I don't know what you're doing, trying to play it safe. Let's just go here and try to win these things. And that was it. And there's no doubt that's going to be my mindset for now on. I'm going to win.
To win. There's no more fishing for paychecks.
No, I mean I needed the money so bad this year, and that did play a lot of role into it because I didn't have the money to even pay for the next tournament sometime until I'd cash a check. So that's how I had to pay for the season. And this year, can't be thankful enough. Sponsors have really stepped it up and built some really good relationships with them. And, we got everything paid for next year. I think we got all the expenses covered. So now it's time to just go out there and go have fun, relax a little bit. But we're going to go swinging.
Is that the most unfair thing about the sport of fishing? When you think about it, I always say, even if you're making league minimum and you're a pitcher in baseball, you're making way more money than anybody in most likely your grade school. You know what I mean? And probably your high school. League minimum in Major League Baseball is pretty good. So and even if you're pitching against a guy who's making $20 million, neither of those two athletes ever think of money while they're competing. But in fishing, just the way the sport is set up, you can't help not thinking about it. Is that one of the toughest things to overcome in our sport? Just the weight of the risk, the gamble?
I definitely think it is for most folks. There's so many guys that I feel like either got cut short in their career that, has these opportunities, and it's hard. It is brutal out there, especially trying to provide, because you're trying to provide for our family, and that's by far my number one goal. And the only reason I would ever quit fishing is if I couldn't provide for them, because they are the most important thing. There's no doubt. Fishing's my dream and everything, but if I can't provide for my family, I won't do it. But absolutely, it makes it hard. It really does. And having that financial burden taken off, just a little bit this year, I feel like it's going to make a world of a difference.
It's huge.
No doubt.
It's huge. Just being able to just focus on the game, basically.
Absolutely.
Now all you got to think about is what you got to do to get it done.
Absolutely. If I could sell my lawn care business for about 100,000, I think we'd be good. So anybody,
you're trying to sell it now? You told me like 10 minutes ago, you told me how good you are at cutting grass. You're the best. Without you, what's your lawn care business going to be?
Just think if I could put that energy towards, learning how to catch a fish, though.
Imagine
damage. Absolutely. But yeah, luckily I did get to drop the concrete. That one was brutal. I don't recommend anybody go that path.
No.
No. Pouring concrete sucks.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a fun job.
It's not. Fishing's better. I will say that. Fishing's better.
What are your best assets as an angler, in your opinion? What's your strength? In your head, you had to have some strengths where you're like, I can make the Elite Series. I can compete here because I got this, and this that other people probably don't.
Consistency. And that's what was so weird about this year is felt like I really feel like I had a terrible year, honestly, but glad I made the Classic. But being consistent, I've always been the guy that I might not knock everyone out of the park, but I'm going to be in the hunt. And that's kind of just been my deal. I'm not scared to drop whatever pattern or whatever deal I thought I had during practice. I'll scrap something in a heartbeat, just go with the flow, whatever. Don't care. I'll fish new water. I'll do anything. So I don't know. I feel like that's really helped me.
What was the biggest mistake you made in your rookie season? That maybe even it might. What's that?
I'm definitely trying to make whatever deal I had in practice work when it just wasn't
holding on
happening
too long.
Mm-hmm. Thinking I was, if I could, I just gotta keep doing this. They're around here somewhere. You know how it goes. Not being as open-minded as I've always been my whole life, and all of a sudden I get on the biggest stage and I'm just like narrow-minded. Oh, I got to do this, and this is So I definitely got to fish more free.
Apart from the people that you room with and spend time with on the road, who was the most welcoming on the Elite Series? Somebody that you didn't kind of know before this all started, but who was the most welcoming in the Elite Series, or was anyone?
Yeah, it was one of the coolest things. It was Polinick. Dude pulled straight up. As soon as I dumped my boat that first morning, I mean, he literally like kind of zigzagged through a few boats and came straight towards me and like, hey, dude, just want to introduce myself, if you ever need anything. And that was awesome. I mean, that really did mean a lot to me. That was cool.
Were you like, oh yeah, never heard of you?
Yeah, that's what he says his name. I'm like, yeah, I think I do know who you are. But, yeah, he was good though. And, followed up throughout the season. He'd always make a point to talk to me and stuff like that. So that was awesome.
Yeah, he's an amazing little man. Amazing.
He can catch them too. Gosh, it's good.
And that's kind of the thing that you hear from everybody after they spend a season on the Elite. So just like these guys catch them everywhere we go. Like there's no that thought of maybe I've got them good enough. It almost is never. You've never got them good enough, no matter how good you got them, it seems.
And the best ones are when you think you did pretty good and feel like, okay, I might not be like leading it, but I'll probably be in the hunt. And then you come back and like fork, for example, go out there and catch 20 pounds. Like, yeah, I know it's fork. I'm not going to be leading the tournament, but should be in the top 15, 20, something like that. I was like, I don't even know if I was in the check range, 20 pounds. Like, who are these people?
Yeah, no,
it's insane.
It's pretty incredible, stop after stop, no matter what the conditions are, you guys will say, oh, it's going to be tough. I mean, but it's still, it blows me away. Do you have the level of commitment it takes to make it on the Elite Series long-term? Do you think? You know what I mean? Because really, like if you look at somebody like Brandon, he has literally hostaged his entire life. Like that's the only thing that matters. I think he had a 2-week honeymoon he's on right now. But other than that, he has spent every hour, it seems, of every waking day trying to figure out how to catch a bass. Do you have that same kind of drive in you?
There's no doubt this is what I want to do. And I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to Rick Clun this thing because that is just an animal, different level. But yeah, there's no doubt this is what I want to do, and I'm learning so much this year. I mean, because I did not know the fishing industry side of things, the whole business side, and you hear everybody talk about that. But dude, I was clueless. I didn't have any relationships of like, hey, if I make it to the Elites, can we get this going? No, it was like a December, I think 15th or 12th, whatever it was, when I found out I qualified after the last Open. Hey, you got a month and a half, get after it. So I'm just calling people like crazy, just trying to figure this out. And, but yeah, learning that business side of things this year has been just huge for me. And I know how important like the social media thing is. And that's where I've been, kind of out of it before and really trying to push, because I know that to make it in the sport, you've got to do this other stuff. And I can't be happier with the relationships I've started building this year on that end of things and really working with some good companies. So I'm excited, and we're definitely going to make it.
Is part of what I saw with you reaching out to me to be on this show, and you've done a bunch of other shows, and you're even doing a deal with Jeffries where you're going to be Jeffries and Panger, Bass Talk Live. I think you're going to be doing it before each event. Yep. Is that part of your business plan? Like, was that, okay, once the off season comes, I'm going to reach out to all these people and I'm going to make sure they don't forget my name.
Absolutely. I want every exposure. I'm not turning down anything. I don't care if it's some kid in his basement wants to do a podcast with 3 views. Let's go. I mean, you know what? Any exposure I can get, I feel like is better. I mean, I don't know if I'm that interesting of a guy or anybody even cares about me, but my God, they're going to get to see me.
And I think you are that interesting a guy because you are. I mean, everybody I think watching this right now says like, I know a guy just like him. He's the exact same as him, and the only difference is you had the ability and the good fortune to qualify, and you had the ability and the guts to go and kind of follow that dream. I mean, that's really the biggest difference between most people. I mean, you'll hear it in comments here. People will be, well, I'd like to do that, but, and you're looking at a guy who, you know, as far as I've told, this isn't just you. I mean, you've had a lot of support from people that live around you. Like you literally, you became a GoFundMe basically for them, correct?
I literally did. And we called it Team Tuscaloosa,
So cool.
where it was, I mean, yeah, you're going to get me all choked up on that. There was guys at the boat ramp that would come up, like we were fishing a Saturday wildcat and just hand me $20 just for like, hey, I know it's not much, but I hope this helps. And it did. I mean, it really did. But having guys in this community that reached out and did that, it was huge. There's no way I could have done it. I didn't get a single dollar of, well, I take that back. With Buck and Bass, I got like very small paycheck last year. So in the fishing industry, that was the only money that I got. And literally everything else was friends and just the community around here.
That's
I wouldn't have made it.
Pretty awesome. And I would imagine also a motivating factor. You know what I mean? Like if somebody, even a corporate sponsor showed up and said, hey, here's this much. But when it's people and you see those people day after day, I mean, I imagine that when you're like, I want to get off the water, I've done enough of this. It's got to drive you a little more to know that old man Jeffries, or not Mark Jeffries. I mean, I was just talking about,
yeah, he can donate
man
something.
Jefferson or whoever gave you $20. I mean, I just feel like that's a cool, you know, thing to have in the back of your mind to continue. Not that you needed more motivation, but to continue to push you, knowing that your whole community's behind you.
Absolutely. And it's so cool. It's like, I don't know if I'm representing them. I mean, that whole deal, but that's the kind of the way I think of it in my mind. It's like, because there's so many guys around here that would be in my same shoes fishing wise, the quality of fishermen we have around here. I mean, it's insane. But yeah, I want to show that whatever I can do, because those are the guys that have my back. And I know I'm not personally giving back to them, but I want to represent them the best I can. That's for sure.
Who was your fishing idol growing up?
Oh man, I did a report. I think it was in like the second grade, something like that. It was on Jay Ellis, of who our role model was. So I know my teacher didn't have a clue what I was talking about. It was, but it's something, you know, my mom saved it, and you know, my little old whatever 7-year-old handwriting you can't even read. But yeah, talking about Jay Ellis, he's such a good Christian guy. He's been such a good advocate for the sport and just such a personal guy. So he was definitely one of them. And then,
I'm assuming you've told that story to Jay.
I have not actually.
Oh wow!
I talked to him very little, and yeah, I don't know. It was like one of those guys. I never this entire season was like a one-on-one thing, other than like just going by him on the trolling motor before takeoff. It was like never got to talk to him. Man, we're gonna make that happen.
Yeah, well, once this story gets out here, I mean, it has to happen, really. I mean,
another funny one was Bill Lowen. So I fished the junior, you know, nation stuff growing up and won the state championship. So got to fish the Junior World Championship. And Bill Lowen was the pro that took me out when I was like 14 years old, something like that. Well, we were sitting at a gas pump and he pulled up right beside me. It was up at Champlain. And I was like, do you remember me at all, Bill? And he just looked at me. He's like, no, why? I was like, you took me out on Logan Martin, whatever, in that junior championship. And he just like, oh my God, that was a pretty cool moment. So he definitely, he remembered it then. It's made him feel old, I guess is what he said.
Well, of course, that's got to be your reaction, but it's also like, it shows you how much those things matter. You know what I mean? Like, because let's be honest, to a pro angler, taking part in that event, that literally means you didn't do good that week. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't make the cut. And you're being asked by somebody to take part in this. And it seems like, I think at times it could seem like, well, I'd just rather go home or do whatever. And Lowen is one of those guys that I'll tell you, man, there's certain guys that are always throwing their name up. And Lowen is definitely one of those guys, but it's cool to see that all these years later, man, he changed your life probably by, maybe you wouldn't have done this, would have done this, but to compete against those guys and to see how it can change things is amazing. And some of the people you brought up, like you bring up Clun, like Clun is you plus 40 years. Like when you see the energy he puts out in the dock, that's insane. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know how he does that.
I don't need it. And back to like the first tournament you were asking about. So we're fishing at Rodman, and I think it was on like day 2, and I'm going down a stretch, and it was like a little island and lily pads coming around. He comes around the other side, and it's just like he just kind of comes through the trees, and I just stopped and I stopped fishing for a minute. I just had to watch him. It's just like, what? This is so cool. I wanted him to catch one so bad right there in front of me.
He's amazing, and he does have a majestic presence around him. That's for sure.
And it was just like, he was burning that. It was just so Clun, and that he was coming through there 90 miles an hour, burning that spinnerbait just like wide open. It's like, how do you do that? I don't know.
He's an amazing man. But that's what I love about the Elite Series. There's so many amazing stories, and some of them are fabled. And I don't know how to get out of this and not call Rick Clun real old, but been around for a long time. And some of them are just starting like yours. What would you like people to remember about you, regardless of what you win in this sport? When people talk about you when you're done in this sport, what would you like them to say?
Obviously, my good looks.
Yeah,
that's first.
Sure. Always. That's always first.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want to be one of those guys that, like, you hear so much like Gussie. The first thing anybody says is, that's just a good dude. You're not going to run across a guy that has a bad word to say about Gussie. He's just that good of a dude. So I hope I can, definitely leave with that. But also, I want a lot of trophies. Like, I want all the trophies. I don't want my wife painting behind me. I want like.
Did your wife paint that?
Yeah. I'm trying to get brownie points.
Oh wow, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. But you'd
Best
like to knock that thing off the wall and replace it with a trophy.
Yes, if I could actually afford to have my own fishing room and that whole cool setup, that'd be great. But
well, we never know. But there'll be a time. Maybe we'll look back at this footage and you awkwardly giggling about your fishing room and be like, wow, it's not awkward anymore. Because, hard work and putting yourself out there is all it takes. And you've definitely done that.
That's the one thing I'm not scared of. If the working is the easiest part for me, I ain't scared of the hard work. It's the building this social media platform. I just joined TikTok, so I'm pretty famous now.
What are you doing on TikTok? Are you doing like dances and stuff, or what?
Yeah, all dances. That was the stripper pole comment.
Hit you. Wow. I thought you were joking. You really?
No dances. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how to use this thing, first of all.
All right.
But if you see me dancing, then something bad wrong happened.
Something real bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will check out all of your social media and give you a follow. Justin Hamner, I appreciate you being here on our show. And you could have just texted me or reached out to me rather than trash talk me in front of your followers. But hey, it worked. So
this got way better of a response than a simple text. That's what everybody does.
You're right. Hey, you got to go cut somebody's lawn. I'll talk to you later.
I really appreciate you having me on. Anytime you need somebody, just let me know. I'll drop that weed eater for you.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And we'll see you very soon. He may have trash talked his way onto the show, but I'd say he was another great guest with some great stories. And I hope you guys have a great week. Remember, enjoy being.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters told you to. You hear?